everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode in my Tower Defense game series on Scratch. Today, I will be adding the leveling up system, so that way you can actually click on your tower and be able to upgrade it to make it do more damage and shoot faster. So let's get right into it. First things first, as you can see here, I have a brand new sprite, and it is named Aero Upgraded, and it is basically the exact same as the Aero, just I made it look a little bit more like metal and more quality, and then I've added a new costume or two in the tower. So here I have the right and left of our Aero Tower base, and I've just made it an upgraded Aero Tower base. As you can see here, it's literally just like a cooler version of this. Like, it looks like it's been upgraded. As you can see, I've added vines and I made the guy look a little bit cooler. And also, I've added an upgrade button in the UI. It is the button that you're going to click when you want to upgrade a tower. Then, once you hover over it, as you can see, there's just a little bit of a description for it. Alrighty, so now we can start programming this. So in the UI here, I want to do a repeat 2 times instead of 1 for creating clone of the buttons. That way we have another button, and I want to do an if else here and do if button clone ID is equal to 2 and delete everything in it and put that in the else. So now this is where we're going to program the second button, which is going to be the upgrading button. So for this one, I want to set the size to 100% at the very beginning, and I want to switch costume to the upgrade button. Then go to 00, except I want to change the X to -200 and the Y to -140, and that is going to make it kind of go in the bottom left. So if we click on this, as you can see, it just goes to the bottom left. Then I want to do a forever loop, and also make sure to do go to front and put this go to front in a forever loop. For now, this is all we are going to do. So now, as you can see, there's just a little upgrade button that pops up in the UI. Okay, so go ahead and head into the towers and do a when I start as a clone, and then do an if statement here. Scroll around until you find if turret clone ID equals Aero Tower base, and just duplicate that. That way you don't have to recode it again. We need to make a few new lists and variables. So for the list, I want to do a for all sprites and name this one turret type. Every single clone that we make is going to have its type of turret, so say it's an Aero Tower or it's an Aero Tower upgraded, in this list. Then make another list and name this turret selected. So this is going to have every turret that's selected in this list. So those are the 2 new lists you need to make. You delete all of turret selected and duplicate it into turret type, and you are going to go ahead and want to do when I receive the play level, then delete all of this stuff. This is the play level, if you remember from last episode, is just the first time we join into this game. So now that we have that, it should clear the list every time we start the game. So when it starts as a clone, then we're going to add a Aero Tower to the turret type, because when it's created, there's going to be a new turret and it's going to be an Aero Tower. Then duplicate this and just add a blank to turret selected, because when the tower is first created, it's not going to be selected. Now we need to make a new variable, and this is similar to in the enemies, how we have this one right here, the clone number. It's going to be the similar thing that keeps track of the item. So every clone will have its own number. We're going to make a very new variable for this sprite only, super important, and name this turret number, like so. And like I said, every single turret has its own number. That's why it's for the sprite only. So we're going to set that turret number to the length of turret type, because every time a tower is created, it adds a new input to this list. So if it's 5 long, that means there's 5 towers. We can do a forever loop and do an if else. Then we need to do a not and then an equals item 1 of list, and just change this to turret type and do item turret number not equal to parentheses upgraded Aero Tower. So in the if statement, it is a normal tower, and the else it is an upgraded tower. Then we want to do another if else inside of this if statement, and do if touching mouse pointer, and then an if and do if mouse down. So that means we've clicked on it. Then I want to wait until mouse is not down. So that means we've clicked and then let go. That prevents a bunch of problems. Then I want to replace item 1 of blah 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 with blah blah blah, except I want to change this to turret selected. So I want to replace item turret number of turret selected with Aero Tower selected. So that means if we click on it, it's going to replace, instead of having its turret type to Aero Tower, it's going to change it to Aero Tower Selected. That way the code knows that, hey, I'm being selected. Go ahead and set the brightness effect to 25. That way you have a little bit of a visual that, hey, this is being selected. Then I want to do wait until mouse down underneath that, so that means we've clicked off. Then I want to wait a 0.1 seconds. Go ahead and duplicate this, replace item turret number of turret selected with a blank like this, and then set brightness effect back down to 0 so it resets it all, and set the size to 75%. Also, I am very sorry guys, so take everything out and see this if else with the if not upgraded tower, all that, just change this to an if. So if not item turret number of turret type is equal to upgraded air tower, then do all that stuff, and then in the else statement of this, go ahead and duplicate all this bottom stuff and take out this set size to 75%, put the brightness on top, and then do all of that same stuff. So that is a little selecting script. If we go ahead and make a brand new tower, as you can see, there we go, it makes a new blank input on turret selected, and it sets the turret type to Aero Tower. Then if we go ahead and click this, as you can see, it gets brighter, but not only does it do that, it says Aero Tower Selected. And if we click off of it, as you can see, it unselects it. There is the whole entire script for the selection. It is a little bit confusing, but here it is if you want to pause the video and copy it. Okay, so now with the new variables we just created, we can go into the UI and we can actually finish programming this whole entire script for the button itself. So how this is going to work is we place down the tower, if we click on it and it's selected, and then we can click on this button and it upgrades it. And if else here, and do if the pull out this contains one, and do if turret selected contains Aero Tower Selected. Make sure that for this piece right here, you do the exact same as you did with this replace right here in the towers. See where we set it to Aero Tower Selected. So go ahead and go into that and just do Control-C to make sure it's exactly the same. Because otherwise this whole entire thing isn't going to work. Then if it contains it, then I want to set the ghost effect to 0. So that means it's going to be fully visible. Then I want to do an if else in here, and this is going to be the little touching script. So if we're touching the mouse pointer, which means we're hovering over it, and just copy in this change size by block. See how it does the change size by 115 minus size, all that stuff. I want to do just these same exact thing for there. Then go ahead and put this change size by 101 in the else statement. Go ahead and in the if touching here, switch the costume to upgrade button 2, and if you remember that is the little information panel. So it's going to switch to the information so you can read about it. Then in the else, I want to go ahead and switch the costume to upgrade button, just the normal one. And this else here, which is actually, if you remember, if we take everything out, is the else of this contains Aero Tower Selected. So basically you're saying if we've selected a tower, then we can touch it and do all that stuff. But if we're not touching it, then I want this button to fade out so you can't actually do anything, and it kind of gives a visual representation. I want to go ahead and in this else statement here of the tower selected, set the ghost effect to 50% so it's faded out, and go ahead and duplicate this else and put it underneath there. So it's going to get smaller and switch to the upgrade button. So now with this all working, as you can see here, right now the button is faded out because we don't have any towers to upgrade. But if we go ahead and place down a tower and select it, it's not faded and we can actually hover over it. And if we unselect it, as you can see there, we can't select it, and we can keep on selecting it and unselecting it as much as we want. So now I want to do an if statement here and do if the mouse is down, and then do an and we need to make sure that we have enough money, because if we look in the information here, as you can see, to upgrade the tower, it takes 150 gold. We want to make sure that we have enough money, so we're going to do and the money is greater than 149. That means we have at least $150 or cash, whatever it is. Then I want to do the wait until the mouse is not down, because like I said, it prevents a lot of problems. And we're going to broadcast a brand new message. We're going to name this Upgrade Aero Tower, like so. So this is going to actually broadcast an update for this tower to say, hey, I want to be upgraded, after it makes sure that we have enough money and all the requirements are met. So in the arrow towers, I want to, right beside this, all this selecting stuff, pull out a when I receive the upgrade arrow tower. I want to first do an if and make sure that the turret clone ID is equal to arrow tower base. That way no other clones on this tower sprite can do this. Then I want to do an if here and duplicate all of this and then take it out. That way we can not have to redo it, and take out the not. So if the item turret of turret selected is equal to duplicate arrow tower selected, so this is it. If the item turret number of turret selected is equal to arrow tower selected, go ahead and put that in there. Then I want to go ahead and duplicate all of this stuff and do replace the item turret number of the turret type, so that's this one right here that says, hey, I'm an arrow tower, with the, go ahead and duplicate the upgraded arrow tower. So it's going to change its 1 to the upgraded arrow tower after we have enough money. Then I want to change the money by -150, and let's go ahead and make it have some particles. So see this little particle script when I start as a clone, all that stuff? Go ahead and duplicate literally everything right there and put that underneath the change money by -150. And one last thing we can do is a little detail I forgot to do earlier is, as you can see, we have the right and left costume of our arrow tower, but we don't actually make it switch. And we can do this really easily, but because see this little script down here that we coded way back in the series, this arrow tower underscore base, and then it just switches to the right costume. If we go ahead and pull this up, all we need to do is put in a forever loop here and then do an if else and do if the backdrop of stage and just change this one to enemies and do exposition of enemies is greater than, and then put exposition, so that means it's to the right of it, then switch costume to arrow tower base right, otherwise switch to left. So that is just going to make it to the right costume, but if you think about that, if we're upgraded, we want it to switch to the right and left costume of this one. So we have to actually make that. So we need to put another if else and put if the item turret number of turret type is equal to upgraded arrow tower, like that. Then I want to put this in the else, because if we're upgraded, I want to switch costume to the upgraded arrow tower base right if the exposition is greater than, otherwise switch to the upgraded tower base left, and put that in the if the upgraded tower is right. So now if with this we should have the costume be switching. So there we go. If we go ahead and start, if we place down a tower, the turret is not selected, turret type is arrow tower, and then if we go ahead and click on this, it's selected, and it won't let us upgrade this. As you can see, it'll go away, because if you see, it's kind of hard to see, we spent all of our money on this. So go ahead and hide this turret number variable, pull out a set, and just set the money for now to like 200 for now. So there we go, we have 200 cash, and now we should be able to upgrade this. So if we click on this and upgrade it, look at that, it does the little animation, it takes away the money, and the turret type is the upgraded, but we can't really see that, so let me move this a little bit. As you can see, if we move the size of it, it says upgraded arrow tower, so that means this is all working, and it unselects it. So now as you can see, it actually sets, and as you can see here, it makes it have the right costume. And if we go ahead and set our money to 200 again, place down another tower, this second one is arrow tower normal, and we can select it. So once again, I'm not sure why, but if you go ahead and select our arrow tower and then deselect him, it stays shiny still. So all you need to do to fix this is, see this wait until mouse down here on this one, just do clear graphic effects. So hopefully now, as you can see, hopefully if we click on this and we do this and unselect it, there we go. As you can see, it actually makes it not bright. So we can click on it and unselect it, and it actually works nicely. Alrighty, so now as you can see here, if we go ahead and upgrade our arrow tower, right now we don't have enough money to, but if we go ahead and just cheat and set our money to 200 and we go ahead and upgrade this and we click to start the wave, we want it to shoot the new arrows and do more damage, right? But as you can see, it still shoots the old arrows and it still shoots at the same speed. There's nothing special about it. So to do this, go ahead and duplicate this if the turret type is equal to upgraded, and find the little script that is called shoot arrow, because as you can see here, we do the pointing, then we do the animation, then we shoot, and it creates clone of the arrow, which is a normal arrow. So we want to put this if statement like so, and we want to do if the turret type is equal to upgraded arrow tower, then I want to do something else, and in the else statement I want to put the create clone of the normal arrow, and then in the if part I want to create clone of upgraded arrow like so. So if it's equal to the upgraded arrow tower, it'll create clone of the arrow upgraded. So the arrow upgraded is basically the same programming as the arrow, so just pull everything from the arrow into arrow upgraded. You can see in the enemies, it's saying if we're touching right here, if touching arrow, then do all this damage stuff, but that's not the upgraded arrow. So all we need to do is see this, the if enemy ID is equal to sand slime, and if touching arrow, duplicate all of that, and all you need to do is change this to if touching arrow upgraded, and change the health by -2. So all we need to do is do an if else in here, and do in the forever loop, and do if the type is arrow tower, then do all of that, and then duplicate this and do if all of that stuff, and go ahead and delete all of these shooting besides the points like that, and change the weight for the new one. So now all we need to do is see the shoot arrow block. We need to make a new one and do parentheses upgraded, and then do shoot arrow. So it's just going to upgraded, and you can do for all sprites. Copy that upgraded and click OK, then make a new one and do upgraded shoot animation like so, and that's not going to be for all sprites. So we're basically just making the upgraded version of all of these. So we have the upgraded arrow tower shoot animation and the upgraded shoot arrow. Now in the shoot arrow, do create clone of arrow. Upgraded shoot tower animation, we're going to do the same thing, except for the shoot arrow, we're going to do create clone of arrow upgraded like so. And then in the if the arrow tower is all that stuff, instead of doing arrow tower shoot animation, we're going to do upgraded. I'm sorry guys, I'm not smart. So see this upgraded shoot animation? We don't actually need this. I didn't think about this. We just need one animation. So arrow tower animation, do point, and do arrow tower shoot animation, and then you do need this one, however, the upgraded shoot arrow. So there we go. In the normal one, it does wait the 0.01 seconds, and then it does shoot arrow, and this one it does upgraded shoot arrow. So hopefully after a little bit of redoing the scripts here, as you can see, when we click to start the wave, hopefully this actually shoots the right arrow. This one shoots the wrong arrow again, and I'm not exactly sure why. Oh my gosh guys, I actually do remember this. This has happened to me in the past. It is actually a super simple fix. If you remember here, right over here, it sets the turret number to length of turret type, but that is for the arrow tower base. It does not do that for the arrow tower top. So all we need to do is do a set and set the turret number to length of turret type for the arrow tower top. That is the whole entire fix. So set it to the length of turret type. I'm not sure why I didn't do that before, but now as you can see here, if we go ahead and do this, if we place down a tower and then we click to start the wave, this should all be fixed. I'm not sure why I didn't do that. There we go. The arrow is the normal arrow. If we go ahead and get an arrow tower, then we upgrade it like so, we should be, and it should actually shoot the right arrows. There we go. As you can see, it shoots the right arrows, and it shoots a lot faster. And look at that, it shreds through the enemies a lot better. So there we go. Finally, this is working. The fix to that was just setting the turret number of length of turret type. So just to go over what we did, all we did is just make an upgraded shoot arrow and just do arrow upgraded, and then do if the turret type is equal to arrow tower in the else statement and the if statement. And now I see one little bug. Look at this. When you place down the tower, it's upside down. See that? That's kind of weird. So all we need to do is, in the very beginning here, when we do go to mouse pointer, just do point in direction 90, like so, and there we go. That is all fixed. That was just a silly bug. And then another bug fix that I noticed, if we click to start the wave, as you can see, this guy shoots a little bit before the wave starts, and then the arrow kind of does a funky thing. And to fix this, it's actually really simple. All we need to do is see where we put the wait 1 second, just do create enemy on top of the wait 1 second. So now if we place it down, as you can see, it doesn't do that funky thing anymore. So that was a quick little bug fix you can do. So thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, then make sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing. But anyways, this has been Owen, and I am out.